Hello everyone. For my Module 12 activity, I decided to do comparing two equivalent fractions. For my two concrete activities, I decided to use both pattern blocks and fraction strips. I do not have either of these on me personally, but I will show pictures of what they would look like in a minute, and I will convey how I would use them in person if I had them. All right, here is a picture of pattern blocks within the classroom. These would be a hands-on activity, as well as fraction strips. These would be printed out strips that students can work on and manipulate on their own. All right, so here is a written example of what some of these pattern blocks would look like. For this example of comparing two fractions, we're going to use the equivalent fractions of 3/6 and 1/2. As you can see, the shapes we are working with today are a trapezoid, a hexagon, and 3 triangles. I would first start by conveying to students that one trapezoid could fit into 1/2 of our hexagon. And I would move that over, put the block on top of half of the trapezoid, and show them that that is equal to 1/2 of our trapezoid. I would fill that in for just purposes of drawing it, but these shapes are going to be different colors anyway. But just for visuals as of right now, I went ahead and colored that in. I would label that as 1/2 so students could see that it's a visual depiction of 1/2. And then we're going to move on to the object of our triangles. These triangles would be colored in as well, and I would place them on top of our hexagon. They would fit evenly, just for sake of time. I wasn't able to make these triangles the best shape, but I did what I could with the materials I had. These triangles would automatically fit on top and would be examples of 1/3 out of the half and 3/6 over the entire hexagon. Yet again, I would color in our bottom triangles just on this depiction to demonstrate the difference of color and demonstrate the different sizes. So our triangles are on the bottom, our trapezoid is on top, and as you can see, 3 triangles equal 1 trapezoid. And if 3 triangles fit on the bottom, that means that 3 triangles are going to fit on top. With 3 being on the bottom, 3 on top, 3 colored in, and 3 remaining, that is 3/6, or 1/2, as demonstrated from our triangles and our trapezoid depiction. Here I am just labeling all triangles just as another hands-on visual experience for students to see that 3 of our triangles are on the bottom, 3 of them are on top, 3 are what we're focusing on because that is what is equal to 1/2. To compare two other equivalent fractions, we're going to be looking at 1/3 and 2/6 using our fraction strips. And yet again, this would be an example that is hands-on and in person. I do not have these strips, so again, I had to draw what I was working with. All right, so we would start with some strips of this nature, and they would already be filled in. I'm going to go ahead and color these strips in just to make it more easier and more visually understanding for students who would be doing this with me. But yet again, we'd be using the real hands-on depictions. But just for the sake of this video, I'm going to go ahead and color in the thirds on my first strip to show that those are all thirds. And then on my bottom strip, I'm going to go ahead and color in my 1/6. All right, so now that both of the thirds and the 1/6 on the strips are filled in is when I would show to students that our depiction on top of 1/3, which is going to be the first box on the top that I'm about to circle, is going to be equal to our 2 boxes on the bottom, 2/6, because the line conveys them as equal. Now back to our comparing of two equivalent fractions. We've already done our 2 concrete activities, being pattern blocks and fraction strips. And now we're going on to our 2 representational activities. These activities will be more of a drawing based and will be less visual, less hands-on. But these are activities that we can do using a pencil and paper. These 2 activities, we're going to use pattern blocks again, as well as fraction strips. We're going to convey them in a manner that is more of a drawing. All right, so now the two fractions we are going to be using with our drawn fraction strips are 2/4 and 1/2. As you can see, I'm already drawing out the 2/4, and the first strip is cut into fourths. I'm going to label each section of the strip into fourths and convey that the drawn half is going to be 2/4 or 2/4 of the strip. On our bottom strip, it is split into halves. And I'm going to color in the first section in this pretty purple color, conveying that 1/2 of our strip, or 1/2, is the same as 2/4. Here I am drawing an arrow that it is equal to that fraction and conveying that it is with this line right there. All right, now onto our drawn out pattern blocks. The two fractions we are using are 2/6 and 1/3 today, and the shapes we are using again are a trapezoid and 6 triangles. So here I am fitting these triangles into our trapezoid to convey a visual depiction of 2/6 and 1/3, or to aid in helping that visual depiction. All right, in order to find 1/3, it's going to be a little complicated just using this hexagon and our 6 triangles. But here I am labeling our 6 triangles to make it a little bit easier to define our 2/6. And there are 6 pieces total, or 6 triangles. So we know that 2 out of 6, or 2/6 of the triangles, we're going to color in to just give us more of an idea of what we're working with. So I chose the numbers 1 and 2 to color. And since you cannot determine based off of just this visual right here that 2/6 is equal to 1/3, I'm shown here doing some division to convey that 2/6 is equal to 1/3. All right, everyone, we were able to do both of our representational activities of pattern blocks and fraction strips. And now for our abstract example, we're gonna just basically be writing out our fractions, and we're planning on using division to help solve them. For our abstract example, we're going to be focusing on 4/8 and 1/2. And 4/8 and 1/2 is a fairly simple problem that we can figure out, because we know that 4 divided by 1 is 4. And we know that 8 divided by 4 is 2. So we're going to divide our 4/8 divided by the fraction of 4/4 to get 4 divided by 4 is equal to 1. And 8 divided by 4 is equal to 2. Or when you put it in fraction terms, it's going to be equal to 1/2, proving that they are equal. All right, another example of using division to solve equivalent fractions. We're going to focus on the two fractions of 2/6 and 1/3. And just by looking at this fraction, we already know that 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1, and that 6 divided by 2 is equal to 3. So we're going to do the fraction 2/6 divided by the fraction 2/2 to get our fraction of 1/3. Because we know 2 divided by 2 is 1, and 6 divided by 2 is 3.